I just finished a set of sessions that you developed called Windows to the Sky.
Yes.
And I've noticed a couple of things that have happened as a result of these sessions, and it's happened in the past too, but this time it was even more prevalent. And thank you, Petra, and thank you, Chris, for putting that set of sessions together. It's something really strange happened this morning. I have a project that I do on a regular basis that requires a pretty good deal of research and a large deal of brain power, and it normally takes about 3 to 4 hours to complete this project. And this morning, it just happened instantaneously, pretty much holographically, and I completed the entire thing in about an hour and 20 minutes. And there was something that happened, I guess, yesterday that was pretty much along the same line, but today it was the most spectacular example.
How delicious is that?
It was really nice, but could you please talk about, and I know how the windows raise the frequency. Can you please talk about how they affect the brain?
Mm-hmm. So, by the way, they say that our brain sort of reaches its size and its capacity at about 15. And then it starts squeezing up and drying up because we begin with 90% water in the brain and it gets down to less than 70% as we get older, and that's why we can't think as well. So what happens, just so the rest of you know what Windows to the Sky are, they were developed 5,000-6,000 years ago by the ancient Chinese, and they used, first they used big sticks from war, and then they used gold needles when they developed the actual acupuncture needles, and they used gold needles because gold has a particular way of affecting, and they used them in certain patternings, in certain meridians or lines through the body that would stimulate a capacity to go out of the body into the cosmos and to come back in. So the windows to the sky, as they beautifully put them, allow human consciousness to move out holographically into a bigger sphere. And of course, only the priests and the emperors were allowed to use them. They weren't, and even today, you won't find anybody who knows anything about them. But it was this capacity to go out of body and to get an expanded thing, an expanded awareness with our consciousness, and then to anchor it back in, so that the emperors and the priests were able to see what was going on in their kingdoms, when to have a war, how they could help the people, and cosmic beings coming in. All of those conversations were a part of Windows to the Sky. We separate them out into two specific areas, which have to do with energies coming off the body. People talk about the crown chakra, which isn't really a chakra, it's just a gathering of energies passing through the centers of the body and spewing out like this. But then above that is what we call the Golden Chakra. It reflexes or relates to, in terms of a window, to the highest level of astral, so we call that the angelic kingdom. So when you're doing Windows to the Sky on the day that you are looking at the Golden Chakra, you're looking at halos, you're looking at frequencies that dovetail with human consciousness but have something else. What is it that we project onto angels? That they have unconditional love, that they don't interfere, that they bring messages, that they remind us that we're a part of something that's perfect and is not in danger. So when you go through this session into those levels, of course your consciousness has to imagine, it has to expand, it has to perceive something that isn't something that you can touch and feel here every day all the time. And so that triggers, first of all, it triggers a growth in how many and how active your neurotransmitters are, that allows the brain to perceive and to identify. So you're stretching your brain in that. And then the higher octave, which is what we call the silver white chakra, which is about this far above the head. And it's really a physiological thing. It does exist. You could see it if you saw these things. And that one is a window that takes us into the cosmos. Well, if you can imagine that you're made of stars, and you are, you're made of carbon atoms, so you're made of the same energy as stars. What are stars? Stars are suns, like our sun, that maybe and do have planets that circle around them. So they have an energy, and if you connected to that, then you would have to expand your consciousness. I love the fact that science is beginning to say it's possible, not only that there are other planets out there that could sustain life, but guess what? Not all life breathes oxygen. Not all life needs water. And so there is no end to the consciousness that could teach us new laws of energy, how to wield life, how to manifest, how to belong to something that's so much bigger. So when you do windows, you're stimulating all of these neurotransmitters, you're stimulating all these points of reference that allow your brain to do triple time. Whenever you have a holographic thing, remember that time, linear time, is our interpretation of reality. It isn't that way in the cosmos. It's not. And it all happens at once. We have a word for it. We could call it synergy. You know, that energy kind of comes along, and it gets critical mass, and something explodes into what we call reality. Well, that's not even scratching the surface of what's there in the human brain. So what happened is that as you expanded your consciousness and touched these levels, these energies, your brain did that holographic expansion, so it could see the whole, this is what I'm doing. It could see the beginning and the end of it, boom. It just had to wait for you to write it down, you know, to type it in. That's what took the hour and a half. You got the vision holographically all at once, boom. There it is, you can see the beginning and the end and all the points of reference in the hologram, in the circle. But then, of course, you had to bring that down and go, okay, now I'll write this part and this part and this part. Still, you did it in half the time that you would normally do it. Now, how did Einstein get the theory of relativity? And what is it? It's the same thing the Chinese have always talked about. Everything is connected to everything. So if everything's connected, you have access to all information, to all brilliance. Mozart, all those guys, they all got it that way. Their brain was working. And I have to make a plug here right now because I can't help myself. We're going to the whales, to the gray whales in Baja California. The reason I go is because I feel in their brain that kind of energy. Absolute holographic. They never fall asleep. They have a brain that's pretty much just like ours, but they never go completely asleep. So what are they thinking? What are they doing? You know? And I feel that it's really time to realize that our brains are not just about, can you do your homework, can you find the solution to this, but our brains are capable of experiences that we don't realize that we could have, that every one of us could have. And that's the beauty of doing the Windows to the Sky, because they really take you out there into that place past time that you can relate to, that belongs to you, that allows you to shed the I'm a female in this body and earth at this time into a place of consciousness that can perceive information. Who created computers? Humans created computers. How did they program them? How can they take all those megabytes or whatever they are of information? A human did that. So how can we say that we can't figure out what's going on Earth or in the cosmos, or the stream of energies, other beings, other sentient beings across the cosmos who may have figured out how to use energy in different ways? You know, they don't have to go in a plane from here to there. You know, they've learned laws of energy that are beyond what we think we could grasp. But we're the ones that created computers. We can grasp a lot. So I congratulate you for doing the Windows to the Sky. They are the most beautiful, fantastic experiences. And so what you want to do is every night when you go to bed and every morning when you get up, say, and we'll do it again. And really tune into your brain and the frequencies that you were using, doing the windows to the sky, and really say, that's it. You know, if every time you had an idea, or every time you sensed something, like if the phone rings and you go, oh, that's so-and-so, every time you have an intuition, if you would stop for a second and say, that's it, do it again, we would all become so telepathic. We would all become so brilliant that we would not even need words. And this is our destiny. We have it when we're tiny children, and we lose it as we learn left to right. I can read, I can speak English. We lose it, but we're born with it. And so what you want to do in the next few days is that every time you have a little flash, you know, go, yes, yes. Because what happens in the brain is the brain gets infinitesimal amount of information. And then it sits in the reticular activating system in the brain, and then it slowly dribbles up. Usually when we're sleeping, or when, if you've noticed that when you first wake up in the morning, that's kind of when you get the answers to everything. It's because you're in a theta or alpha state, and so the brain is open, and it's allowing all these bits of information to come in. The rational beta mind isn't saying, oh, but let me see, can I prove that, and is that connected to this, and did my teacher say that was true? No, it just floats up. And so what you want to do is to really harvest that, as we say at New Zealand, harvest that now, so that you can keep that going for longer and longer periods of time. That's what it is to truly be human.